All right, I'm about to ship one of my F whistles. F is one of my favorite keys, so I've collected a lot of F whistles and flute over the years. I like them as kind of a representative specimen of different makers, but there's a lot of makers out there. So I'm going to just run through. Like I said, I've got 11 whistles or 10 whistles and one flute. So I'll just run through them and you can see how they sound. So I'll start off, just a note before I start that these are my whistles and your mileage may vary. I know makers sometimes make changes to their designs, and so I know particularly with Carbony, Rob has made several iterations. Chieftain whistles, you have Chieftain V3s. I've had several different V3s. They all play differently. So there's no guarantee that these whistles are going to play the way my whistles play or the way your whistle's going to play. So that being said, this is the Carbony. It's the T4R1A head. It's got this wider opening and a narrower exit. I really like this head. Some of the later ones are a little bit more open, take a little bit more air. That was the more recent model last I knew. I don't know if Rob's made a design rev since then, but this is how it sounds. I like the back pressure with this one. One of these days I'm going to play through that without making a mistake. Here is my Raviol low F. Just a little bit at the end. Then I'm gonna move to my, so here's a Chieftain Busker, and this one I got in 2024. Phil has discontinued the line. This is the one that I'm shipping off. I actually really like it, but someone was looking for an F whistle, and this one, it plays really well, and again, I do have a lot of F whistles, and since Phil discontinued it, it's no longer as relevant as it once was. That one. The previous iteration of this was the Chieftain Thunderbird low F, and I think the main difference between them is I think the beak on the Busker is a little bit shorter to try to help with the response, but they're both a lighter playing of the Busker series. This is one of the lighter playing whistles, kind of a delicate tone, but very nice. Of the Thunderbird and Busker line, I think the F has been one of my favorites. So this one is one I recently acquired, and had to do a lot to it. It smelled very fragrant when I got it, like an open bottle of cologne. It actually burned my throat when I first started trying to play it when it came in, but I soaked it for like 2 days in isopropyl alcohol, and it finally got rid of the smell. But this is a Chieftain V3 low F. So this one looks like it was made in 2011, and I have a V3 low D from 2007 that I really like, and I was hoping that I would get a matching V3 that played similarly, and I think I did. So a little bit less focused than the Busker, but I just like the way the V3 series in particular handles if you get a good one. So. FedEx. So you can hear a little bit. Okay, so that was the V3 low F. You can hear that it's I said on the first octave it's a little bit rounder, a little bit more open, less focused than the Busker series. So it's, you know, it depends on what you like. I kind of like a little bit more breathiness. It's kind of a wild, you know, part of the charm of the low whistle, I think, versus, you know, very pure focused tone is more of the charm of like a recorder. So I just like the V3s, and I go back and forth. Sometimes I like a more focused tone, and sometimes so my V3s aren't tunable. They're just very simplistic, the essence of what a low whistle is to me. So here is my Colin Goldie low medium blowing low F, got in like 2012 maybe 2013. thought the Goldies are like, and there's a reason that they're professional, the professional standard. Really nicely balanced, strong bottom end, but very easy to access on the top end. I don't play them a lot, but something that's always in the back of my mind is I don't want to sell them because if I ever need to become a professional whistle player, then there's probably some aspects to them as far as like the tuning and things that make them more attractive to professional musicians that I might appreciate more if I ever ended up playing in a band or something, which probably never going to end up playing in a band, but you know, and I like them. I mean, they're excellent whistles, so I do play them occasionally, but there's just other tones out there that I enjoy more usually. So here's a JP Lemure. It's kind of the Goldie Overton style a little bit. I mean, it's its own thing, but sort of an Overton-esque design. Definitely a lighter playing, doesn't have a strong bottom end, but has really nice second octave. In contrast, here's one by Dave Shaw. I spent a while messing with the Windway. I pushed it down a little bit. Straight out of this one when I got it, it actually had like wood splinters in the Windway, and it needed some work on it anyway. So it's one of the reasons I played with it more than other whistles. So I kind of pressed it down to reduce the air requirements, up the back pressure a little bit, and it's still a Shaw, but it's been fooled around with. So. Some clogging on that, and that cross finger is it's pretty sharp, so probably a half hole on that. Dave passed away a few months ago, so those are no longer being made. So if you come across one, they're now a collector's item. On the opposite end of the breathiness spectrum, you have the Burke low F. This one is a 2010, and I've noticed some variation in the Burkes as well. All whistles that have a handmade element to them, they can vary somewhat, and even the factory produced ones vary. So you got whistles out there, you have variation. They're very small tolerances, small changes. Fractions of a millimeter can make a huge difference in the sound. So this one I really like. It's got a very focused sound, plays really well. Notice that some of the Burkes are a little bit quirkier, and there's like a particular around their cutting. Right about there, I have a tendency to it's like it needs a slightly different technique to do the cut on that second octave and certain transition points, and it's, I don't think it's not a deal breaker or anything. I have a few whistles that have some issues, some quirks around that area, but it's just something to know. Some whistles just make that transition really easily, and I just struggle with it a little bit. So here's a Dante low F. Not my favorite of the Dante whistles that I've had, but a good player. So my favorite of the Dantes have been in the alto range, like the A flat. I have a G that's really good, and yeah, A flat, G, F sharp, right in that range are the ones that I really like. They're kind of my go-tos for that, for those ranges. But the F is good too. reason that it's not my favorite is it's a little bit fluffy on the little bit slightly less focused than some of my other Dante whistles, but it's I play it and I really like the second octave is great on it. And then finally I have a Jerry Freeman Generation Low F, and this one has a B flat head that's been modified to fit on I wouldn't necessarily say it's a standard, it's not really a standard bore. It ends up being kind of a narrow bore F. So if I have, let me grab, so here's the Goldie, which is probably the standardest thing out there, and you can see the tubing almost fits inside of it. So it's still a narrow bore. This one's a little bit breathy. I've got a G that's the same thing, Jerry Freeman Tweak G, and I like it. It's got a little bit more focus and edge to the tone. So this one's still good, but it's, I like some of his other whistles. I've gotten better, but I find it very interesting. It's like, what if, how far can you push this the B flat head? And he's even got a low D model, which is extremely narrow bore, very quiet. Said, as a narrow bore, definitely has a really nice second octave, very quiet and very breathy. Like I said, my Freeman G is not as breathy. My A is breathy. I got a Freeman tweaked A, same generation style. That's breathier. So I don't know. That may be some of they're hand tweaked. Maybe a little bit of variation in the voicing coming out of some of that stuff. But last is my Carbony flute. This is an F, and it's just fun to play. It's very lightweight compared to some of my other flutes, and fits just barely inside my backpack. I can zip it up, and it's got a really powerful sound. So I'll play just for comparison again. I'll play my Carbony low F. See if I can get my embouchure right the first try. you can get different sounds, like kind of turn it out a little more. So depending on your embouchure, you can play around with flute and you can get a softer breathier sound or a harder focused sound. I tend to go hard and focused as much as I can because it's fun. So I'm gonna mess up my embouchure again because I'm on camera. So just here's the Carbony again. Get my fingering right. Just do the Chieftain V3 again. And for good measure, since I'm getting rid of it, the busker. So it's really one of my nicer playing F whistles, but I have enough. So I hope that was interesting.